Welcome to this tutorial brought to you by Gospel Beats. It's your boy CYB, where we talk about tech things, music, and beyond. And this is the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner Exam Personal Study Guide, where we just going to talk about the responsibility model. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. And this is for anybody who wants to take the Certified Cloud Practitioner exam. I don't know if you know, but I passed the exam a few years ago, and this is just my personal study guide I use to study. So let's get into it. Okay, so in a nutshell, this is what I'm going to be going over: the customer's responsibility and AWS responsibility. So we're going to go through each. And so we're just going to define what is the customer's responsibility and what is AWS responsibility. So for the customer responsibility, the customer is responsible for customer data, your customer's information, name, address, and so forth. Then the customer is responsible for the client side data, encryption, and authentication. So when your customer's trying to log in, you're responsible for making sure that information is encrypted and you make sure they're authenticated that they are who they say they are. Then you have the server side encryption files and data. So everything on your database or everything information that you stored within your application data. Also, the customer is responsible for security in the cloud. So basically, you're responsible for making sure your network is secure. You're responsible for the operating system, the network firewall. So making sure your application or applications firewall, the network setup and operating system, network traffic protection. So the network traffic going in and out of your cloud. The customer is also responsible for platform, applications, identity and access management. So you're responsible for your own application, your own roles and responsibilities of whoever's using your application. So the key thing mainly to remember is the customer is responsible for their own security of their application. Then we're going to look at AWS responsibility. So AWS responsibility is physical hardware, storage, and AWS databases. So physical hardware, when you're using AWS in the cloud, you're just using their software platform. You don't have access to or direct access to their hardware. You can't actually touch it. You can control it through the interface that you're using, but you can't actually physically touch the hardware. So AWS is responsible for the hardware. You can't physically touch the storage or the actual databases, the hardware equipment. You can just manage it through their application or interface. So AWS is responsible for the physical hardware, the storage, and AWS databases. AWS is also responsible for global infrastructure, configuring, manage services, and compute. So global infrastructure, again, hardware, their infrastructure across the globe, managed services. That's the services that they offer on their platform. Compute is basically their compute power, their processing power. AWS is responsible for how fast they process your request through the interface. AWS is also responsible for edge locations, regions, availability zones. So edge locations is physical places where infrastructure or hardware lives. Regions, different locations across the globe where hardware data centers are located. Availability zones, same thing. Regions, physical type locations or zones where hardware units are located. And AWS is responsible for natural disasters. So because they are responsible for physical hardware, if a tornado or earthquake happens and their data center collapses, or a tornado blow down one of their databases, they're responsible for that. They're responsible for networking, so the networking between their data centers. So mainly, essentially, AWS, key thing to remember is they're responsible for physical structures or hardware. So again, for a summary recap, customers responsible for customer data, security in the cloud, platform applications, identity and access management, operating systems, network, firewall, client-side data, encryptions, authentication, server-side encryption, files, data, network, traffic protection. AWS is responsible for physical hardware, storage, AWS databases, configure and manage services, edge locations, regions, availability zones, global infrastructure, natural disasters, compute, and networking. I hope this helps. Good luck if you're taking the Certified Cloud Practitioner exam. Leave a comment. Let me know if you passed the test, or leave a comment if you see a mistake or if I missed something. You should be able to download the PowerPoint at gospelbeats.com. This is brought to you by gospelbeats.com, your source for music, blogs, tutorials, and beyond. Thanks for watching.